I think we're live. Everything looks steady so far. All right. Looks like we're good. Hello, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero with this week's weather podcast. So we do have a couple of things to talk about. What's going on right now? Behind me, there's some things that we need to talk about. And going into next week, there's little potential for something that we'll discuss throughout the next hour of the weather podcast. All right. So you got a couple of viewers. Pete, hello. Thank you for joining. Delvin, I see you there. Hello, Delvin. Dio, thanks for joining in again. Delvin, that's okay. As long as the podcast style is kind of just audio, but I throw in some graphics every once in a while. But if you're with me, I'm breaking open a beer. Feel free to join in if you like. If not, continue what you're doing. So Delvin, I know you're busy. Cheers. This is actually my favorite, Blue Moon. All right. So, let's discuss. Did I hear an echo? I don't think I heard an echo anywhere. I must be just losing my mind. Huh. Anyway, so let's discuss what we see right out here. So, in the Northeast here, we do have quite a wide spread of some stuff. Ooh, we got some. I put the wrong camera up. I have two phones that I use for this. One's for the audio, one's for the video. I put the wrong one up, so the white balance is a little bit off. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Nope, that just made me worse. Well, that looks better. I don't see any fuzzies. I have to remember to use the right equipment next time. All right. So back to the discussion. The bad news first? There is snow in the future. Or is that good news? That depends. I have bad news and good news depending on your perspective. It's all about perspectives. So for right now, we got rain. And what we're seeing here, this is just pretty much all rain. And it's going to be in a couple of different rounds, I guess you can say. So this is going to be round one going through this evening, maybe lasting a little bit into tomorrow morning. And then round two is right here. This is getting towards the Midwest section. And then once this starts making it our way into the Northeast, that's going to be round two. But it does still look like there's mostly rain that we're dealing with out of this system. So if you don't like the snow, we're not having any snow just yet, at least for this week, the rest of this week. But we may be having some... Why am I hearing this echo? That was why I was hearing the echo. Okay. So, where was I? Oh, yes. So this rain will be going into tomorrow, and then there could be a little break. But some areas, this is not all rain. And I'm going to bring up here. So this is basically the National Weather Service radar mosaic, which is a composite of everything. Now, I'm going to go into radar scope. And we're going to take a peek at radar scope here. So I have reflectivity up right now. And we're going to switch this to precipitation depiction. What is this? Orange County here. So once we get into Orange County, we're starting to see some mixing and maybe some, the blue is actually snow. I don't know if there would be any snow out of this, but let's switch radar sites. I'm going to switch to the Albany radar. ENX. Let's get a couple here. So there's this little pool of just cold air. This is actually something called, related to cold air damming. That's basically the mountain ranges create a dam where the cold air just is trapped in this area. It also has to do with elevation too. But the cold air damming, usually you see more towards the Appalachians, not necessarily this far north, but it's interesting to see. Now let's switch to Binghamton. And Binghamton here. It's weird. It's just like this little circle, this bullseye, just right in that area. I'm not sure if that's elevation driven or if that is that cold air damming, but there's some snow, maybe some mixing. There's no mixing on the Binghamton radar. When I went to the Mount Holly radar, it's slight, but it's in there. There's a little bit of mixing going on in there. So maybe a little sleety stuff. But this also ties in with the National Weather Service. Yeah, Pete, I see you. It's just rain out by you. By me, it's also just rain, but you know, right about where I live. Orange County, can't really see, so Orange County ends right about there. So yeah, that makes sense. That's all rain. Then once you get to Sullivan County, that's pretty much Sullivan County right in there. That is what has prompted the National Weather Service to issue some warnings and advisories, and I'll pull that up right now. Where do I have? There we go. So for this area, there's nothing really happening throughout the tri-state region until you get to that Sullivan and Ulster County. So, and a bit more north, especially on this picture, the northern half of Connecticut there. That's seeing some advisories as well, winter weather advisory. I'm just going to go a bit more northwest. And here we're also seeing lots of winter weather advisories throughout most of the northern parts of New York State. And if I just click on this winter weather advisory, let's take a peek. Freezing rain expected, total ice accumulations of light glaze, especially at the higher elevations like we were mentioning. Now until about 10 p.m. this evening. Ah, interesting. It's only going till about 10 p.m. What else do we got? Winter weather advisory in effect until 7 a.m. Oh, these are different weather forecast offices, looks like. This is Syracuse. This is Binghamton. Buffalo. So they all have different advisories up. But depending on exactly where you are, we got Oneonta. Let's click right on Oneonta, for instance. So winter weather advisory in effect until 7 a.m. And specifically around that Oneonta area, that's where we are seeing a lot of this. So this one, let's take a peek here. So this is showing the when. I like this kind of format that they show. They show the what, the where, the when. So the what, let me see if I can just stay off to the side. Freezing rain expected, total ice accumulations of less than 1/10 of an inch in most locations. Sullivan, Delaware, Otsego, Juanita? I'm not sure how to say that. Hey, get away. That's why I switched these before. And I just set up the wrong equipment this time. Oh well. Okay, so that's the advisories we have out right now. Even though I'm underground right now in the studio, I can just barely hear some rain outside. So that might mean it's pretty heavy. Hey, Blue Moon, if you're watching. Oh, speaking of that, I did put in the description. I tried something new, kind of going off the lines of Joe Chaffee. Running all this does get expensive, so any support for the channel, for the company, Weather Chaser Consulting, would be greatly appreciated. I'll just bring that up as a little plug right now. So that is paypal.me/weathermanap. paypal.me/weathermanap. And I'll go this side. There you have it. So here, this is where you can donate if you would like to. Anything would be greatly appreciated. Joe Chaffee uses Patreon. I haven't set up anything with Patreon. I may be looking into that as well, but at least I have that PayPal link if you feel generous and want to support the channel a little bit more than anybody else. So that would be greatly appreciated. Back to the weather. So we have those advisories. Let's take a look at some of the upper air charts. Now, yesterday, if you watched my Games and Storms live stream, some of my links that I haven't used in a while, that I was just like, yeah, let's take a look at them, didn't work. I'm going to try it again here. Because it was a Windows computer I was using. I don't think that would have anything to do with it, but we shall see. So let's do this SUNY Difax 850. Yeah, it's just not being updated. Take a look at this date right there. Tuesday, March 21st, 2017. So that pretty much confirms I need to get rid of that link. That doesn't work anymore. So, oh well. But we're going to go to the Weather Prediction Center. Ooh, WPC. And here, we'll go to at least the surface analysis. If it lets me. Why is it not letting me? Come on. There we go. All right. So there's that kind of double low pressure. Why is it doing that? It's so weird. That's why I hate this phone sometimes. That's the 8 Plus. The front-facing camera, the 8 Plus, just doesn't work. I think what it's doing, even though all the controls are locked out, I think it's actually changing the white balance on the fly, although white balance can't be changed. Weird. So we'll have to deal with that every once in a while. Hopefully it doesn't get terrible. That's why I upgraded. Actually, I might be able to switch some things. Let me try. We'll see if it's the phone or we'll see if it's something else. So I might go blank for a second here. Okay. Let's try switching things around. Hello. Okay. I got audio back. This was getting there. We're getting there. Okay, I'm going to try and get this fixed. Are you guys still with me? Okay, I am back. I'm still trying to work on the audio. The audio is delayed, so I know my mouth and sound are out of sync right now. Okay. I think I fixed it. That looks much better. Fuzzies. I think we're good. Okay, let's get back to that. That's expected. This has a reflection. Okay. When there's no reflect, oh, it's still there. Why? On this side. Something's happening with this side specifically. You know, I've had times when there was no problem with this whatsoever. This is just really frustrating right now. I work in technology, yet technology fails me constantly. I might just quit my technology job. Okay. I don't get why. All of a sudden, just this week, I didn't change anything. Ah. All right, we'll push through. Thank you, Delvin. Some sunset updates. Now I completely lost track of what I was doing. And this thing keeps clicking. Everything's just failing. Let's just skip to the good old tropical tidbits. I have no idea what I was going to talk about. I was trying to get some upper air charts. I don't know where I'm going to get them from. All right, let's just go straight to the forecast models here. Ah, the lights just blinked. I hope I don't lose power. Why would I lose power? It's just that kind of day. It's just my luck. Okay, let's get to the northeast here. Let's take a peek. All right. Heavy rain. That is 6Z, I believe, even though it looked like 0Z and 0Z. So that's about 1 a.m. The GFS is showing quite a bit of heavy rain, but it's showing the colder air a bit more north, so out of our area. However, Massachusetts, Vermont, right in that area, that's ice. That could be pretty dangerous. And then down near the bottom here, that's going to be round 2. And like what I was talking about yesterday in the Games and Storms stream was this break. So this is going to be round 1, which is right here. That's all round 1. Then we're going to have this break in the middle, just about there. And then round 2 starts to come up this way. So that was still looking like what's happening. Did anybody see that? On my body, it looked like a piece of dust or a spirit orb. We're not in Halloween. I had the ghosts flying behind me before. And skeletons in my closet. Skeletons in my closet came out of the closet. All right, so going into tomorrow morning, it looks like still going into eastern Connecticut, Suffolk County, and west or east of that, even going into the Boston area. Still some showers. Then there's that break still. And then here comes round 2. And the other thing you might notice, which I was talking about yesterday, the pressure gradient. These isobars, when these isobars get really close together like this, that means a very high pressure gradient. So that means very windy conditions. The other thing that gets into a little bit of sciencey stuff is advection, cold air advection. And now I talked about this yesterday where that right here, this is the 540 line. That's not the freezing line, that's a height line. When you look at all of the atmosphere, pressure levels fluctuate, all depending on a bunch of different variables. So the 500 millibar level, wherever that is, that's what this is showing. So that 540 line, that is 540 decameters, tens of meters. Or it could just be 5,400 meters. Depending on however you would like to look at that, they mean exactly the same thing. That's why I like the metric system. So 540 decameters right there. That is how high up? 5,400 meters up. That's where the 500 millibar level is. And that is kind of related to where the freezing line is. That's why here it's showing these blue lines and then these red lines. However, with this system, I don't think it was this model. I forgot which model yesterday. If anybody was watching or joined me for the Games and Storms live stream yesterday, then we were showing a perfect example of the 540 line being more north, but then south of it, I think in some area, was showing sleet. Ah, yes, they were showing in Sussex County, I remember. It was showing sleet in Sussex County, even though the 540 line was north of that area. So that's showing that's not always lining up. That's generally thought of as the temperature line. However, it's not always. Okay. But beyond that, if we look at these lines, I think they're called isotax. I still have to look that up specifically. The height lines and then the isobars. That is almost a 90-degree angle. And let me get a real zoom in here. So when you see, and this goes into some SKU-T stuff where we learned about the different angles of the line intersections, kind of going off of that discussion with my meteorology professor. He was a doctor and had studied this too. When you have these lines intersecting at almost perpendicular, that 90-degree angle right there, there we go. Once you get that 90-degree angle, that means that's really strong advection. So that means we have a lot of strong cold air advection coming in our way. It's going to be the case going into the weekend as well. We're going back to cold. Right now it's 38, starting to happen at the moment, where it was much warmer yesterday, which yesterday was a beautiful day. And I was explaining this yesterday too. I actually filmed 3 things yesterday. I filmed a gaming video in the beginning of the day. It was a CPU cooler upgrade, which I have all that in the process of editing it, and I'll get that out to you guys. Then I filmed a special Full Throttle Thursday, not for tomorrow, but for Valentine's Day, which happens to be on a Thursday. The love of your car. That's kind of the theme with that. So that one will be next Thursday. And then the last thing I filmed was the live stream, the Games and Storms last night. So yesterday was a busy day. And going back to this, I always find that really fascinating to see. This is what we were talking about last night. Excuse me. We're seeing that exact same thing. Almost perpendicular. Pretty much perpendicular right there. And it also, this is where you can kind of make out the cold front. See these kinks? If you follow these kinks, you can actually line up where the front is. Or the ridge. Yes, that's the ridge. I see the high pressure there now. I didn't see that before. So that's the ridge of high pressure. It's down here. What is that? Can't make that out. Looks like Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, kind of Tennessee area there. That's right where that high pressure system is. And that's coming in, and that's bringing that little bit of a ridge. So that's going to be in place for the weekend. And as I slide this through here, we see going to Saturday. Looks very dry, except maybe near the Finger Lakes there. Near the Finger Lakes, there's some little flurries possible, some lake effect snow it looks like. And then still really breezy, light pressure gradient. So Saturday is going to be very windy. Sunday, that high pressure is pretty much right in the area. It's just south of us. And once we get near the center of the high pressure, usually that's when the pressure gradient goes down, and that's where we're seeing isobars get a little bit further away. And also, this is where we're seeing the advection starting to slow down. Not as strong of advection. So for instance, I'll show you right there. So we have an isobar right there. That's an isobar. That's 1034 millibar. And then I don't know which height line that is, but you see how that's almost parallel to the isobar? That means pretty much no advections happening at that particular moment. But if we look at some other areas, once you get a bit more ahead of the high pressure, you're still having some intersection there between the height lines and the isobars. So there's still a little bit of advection happening ahead of the high pressure system. But as the high comes a bit more into our area, that's where the advection pretty much stops and those lines become perpendicular to each other. And for reference, that was the 528 line. There's the 540 line south of the Delmarva area. Wow. That's the cold air that's going to be coming in, and that's going to be setting up what looks like the next system that we'll get to in a little bit too. Let's see, there's this. Yeah, the reflections off this cause a little bit of an issue. All right, well, how's everybody doing tonight? Pete, Delvin, who else we got in here? Dio, are you guys still with me here? So, how's your day going? How's your week going so far? All right, so overall, the weekend doesn't look bad there at all. And then this is Sunday night to Monday. Not the system we're talking about. This is just really bringing some light snow showers. I don't really expect anything too much out of this. That makes its way out. We have high pressure coming down from Canada. And this is where, again, we're starting to see some more cold air advection with that 528 line. That intersection, although it's not perpendicular, yeah, that's perpendicular. Even though it's not perpendicular, it's still intersecting at a pretty decent angle. And that means cold air advection. More cold air coming down around the front side of the system. So we have clockwise rotation around high pressure in the northern hemisphere. So that's bringing in northwesterly winds, which are going to be very cold. Once that system makes its way out, then we have this. So this is going to be the big question mark here. That's ice and sleet, sleet and freezing rain. And I like that it actually shows the difference between the pink and the purple. And if we look at the legend, the purple, that is sleet. The pink is freezing rain. So pink, freezing rain, purple, sleet. So we have freezing rain in the pink and then purple in the sleet. Now this is the GFS, and historically, typically, the GFS is warm. It trends warm, the GFS. So if it's showing some mixing happening there, I'm curious to find out what the other forecast models are going to show. But that's quite a bit of rain, some heavy rain there. That's all coming in. And it still stays pretty heavy sleet, freezing rain there. Not really heavy with the snow, but moderate rain turning into some sleet and freezing rain. And then those isobars get really close together again. That pressure gradient really increases. And this is where we can track another front here with those kinks through the isobars. And you can kind of see that's what kind of lining up where that rain to snow line is happening, right where that cold front's with the isobar kinks. So that is coming through. And then behind that, wow, that's going through Tuesday. So the second half of the day Tuesday, going to Tuesday night into Wednesday. And then this should be done by Thursday, or Wednesday night really. But Thursday's a little bit beyond the 7-day forecast that I usually like to stick with. So we're not really going to look at that. Although, this situation here, I'm a little bit more confident that it's going to be what that's showing. So that's the GFS. We're going to rewind this. And we're going to go to the icon model next. All right, let's take a peek at the icon model. The Germans. So this is tonight. That's what's happening right now. So it's initializing pretty accurately. And there's that break. Still showing that break in the action. And then here comes Friday. A little bit thinner. Showing very thin line of precipitation compared to the GFS that was. But the bulk of the heavier rain is more north here. So a little bit different shape there. So we're already starting to see some variations between just two forecast models that we looked at. All right, so that brings itself out here. And then for Friday going into Saturday. Oh, am I on? I'm on the 20 hour. Let me switch this back to the 12Z. There we go. Wait for that to all populate in. And here, very breezy. That pressure gradient is very high. And then for Sunday, doesn't look as bad. The high pressure center actually stays pretty. Actually, it looks like right in the same spot, that high pressure center. And that looks like it's going to be a nice day on Sunday. So I don't expect too much cloud cover at all out of this either. So that's for Sunday. Let's take a peek at Monday. Remember, Monday was the day it was showing some light stuff, and that's kind of what this is showing too. It's just the precipitation is not reaching as far northeast. It pretty much stays right around Hudson Valley level and south. And then that's out of the picture. Tuesday, here we go. No frozen precipitation. Wow. I was shocked at that. Lots of heavy rain though for Wednesday. Next Wednesday is not going to be a pleasant day at all with all of this heavy rain throughout the area. And then that ends 0Z Thursday, which is 8 p.m. Wednesday. That system, the axis, has moved mostly out of the area. Even it's just a little bit east of Boston. So pretty much out of the area. We just have some lingering showers behind that when looking at 0Z Thursday, again, which is 8 p.m. next Wednesday, essentially a week from right now. You can quote me on that. Okay, that's icon. That's really all I have for what I can show, just because I want to try and avoid copyrighted stuff, which is the European model and the RPM and the Deep Thunder, but I'm going to explain it to you. So I'm going to take down the background for right now. And we're going to dissolve that away. I'm in the void. There's nothing. Anyway, I'm just going to leave nothing up back there. And we put this back, get that queued up and ready. And for this, I'm going to talk through, because the NAM we'll get to. Don't worry, I didn't forget about the NAM. It's just that the NAM doesn't go out as far. So I want to get to the longer range models first, then we'll get into the NAM. So I'm going to go into my special page that I log in with. And let's bring up this European. Make sure we're on the right 12Z here, 240 hours out. All right, so I'm just gonna basically explain it to you. Let's see how it initialized. It's doing okay. 0Z, which is about 8 p.m., it's showing some moderate rain in the area. What do you know? There's moderate rain in the area. Okay, let's go through here. There's the break, still showing the break. And then comes thin, not as thin as the icon model, but it's out pretty much by 18 to 0Z Friday, or 18Z Friday to 0Z Saturday. Pretty much out. So by Friday afternoon to Friday evening, pretty much out. It's also showing the very high pressure gradient, those thick isobars, or those tightly packed isobars, and it's showing pretty much that 90-degree perpendicular advection signature, where the isobar and that thickness line are pretty much perpendicular. It's showing that. The black background isn't keying out. All right, so then going into Saturday, just windy. Looks fine. Sunday, high pressure. Just about the same area for the center of the high pressure system. And then Monday still looks cold, just very light stuff, some light snow showers or flurries. And then going into Tuesday, it's really difficult to say just because the European model, it doesn't show whether it's rain or snow. It just shows that 540 line. So it's a bit difficult to judge, but it looks like it's going to be at least starting as rain. Maybe some wraparound snow by the time we get to Wednesday morning. And then it starts to make its way out, and it's pretty much out of the area by 0Z Thursday, which is again that 8 p.m. Wednesday. So that is the European. I'm also going to take a peek at 8 p.m. Actually, before I do that, I like to go descending order. So this is 144 hours out. The Deep Thunder model, the IBM one. This one is, I'm always fascinated that I can use this Deep Thunder model because this is actually run on the Watson supercomputer, which is really cool. Did I put the phone in backwards? No, I didn't. No, we're good. I thought I put that in backwards. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's make sure we're going out. 72. $12Z. Why is it not showing me everything? Okay, it's limiting it to 72 hours. Why is that? Usually this went out 144 hours. Yeah, 15 kilometer Deep Thunder. And I'm just going to play through it just so I can bring up the graphics again for you. All right, same situation there, the brakes. Actually, it's showing some flurries happening and that lake effect snow that I talked about in the beginning of the episode, or the podcast. That is for overnight Friday into Saturday. Even lingering into Saturday itself, some lake effect snow showers, maybe getting into the Oneonta area. Not a lot. And then let's go with the RPM, which I know for sure that is a 72-hour model. Ooh, it helps if I hit the right view. Because that one, when you look at the United States view as a whole, the CONUS, the continental US, it very small. All right, let's run through this real quick. Okay, still showing that brake. So at least for that part, the models are in agreement good enough. They're never going to be in perfect agreement. That's why we don't just have one forecast model. We have a bunch that all have different algorithms, different proportions of the variables they take into account. Yeah, the RPM is about the same as the Deep Thunder. Okay, there goes that. Okay. I get rid of those. And I'm going to bring this back. There we go. All right. That's the icon. Let me just bring up the NAM and let that load. Let me back this up. Now the NAM is an 84-hour model. So we can see down here. Helps if I go the other way. There we go. 84 hours. Not terrible. And this is 12-kilometer resolution. Okay. Let's take a peek at this. Let's see how it looks. Not bad. It's only Thursday, which is that 8 time, which is 26 minutes ago. And that's showing that in even right there. Higher elevation area, which is making me think it is elevation driven, not necessarily cold air damming. There's a little sleet mixing into Sullivan County there. So and that break, there's the break there. Here comes the rain. Tuesday, every individual hour at a time. Not a lot. And it's narrow. There's not a lot of. You do have some pretty heavy rain with those blobs of yellow there. You can see the kinks right in there. That cold front going right up through there. Pretty much out by Friday morning. Those really tight isobars, that high pressure gradient is very obvious right through there. So Saturday, overall, it's not going to be a bad weekend. It's dry. I don't expect any precipitation for the weekend. It's just Saturday looks like it's going to be really, really windy. So we have to keep that in mind. Anything you're doing Saturday. And then once you get a bit more north, near the Great Lakes, Finger Lakes area, you may be seeing some of those streaks, which it's showing right there, of the lake effect snow. So that you have to keep in mind. And continuing through this, going into Sunday, and that's where it ends. The high pressure is a little bit slower. If you remember, that center of the high pressure was pretty much just south of Cape May right there. That's where it was sitting, I think, on the GFS and the Icon model. The NAM has it still in Pennsylvania. So that's where it's showing the timings are a little bit different. But overall, the isobars, they're not as tightly packed together. So the winds start calming down for your day on Sunday. But we could still see ahead of the high pressure. Still windy, especially going into Maine. Not really so much by that point once you're getting into Boston, but still it's windier in Boston than it will be in New York City because of the proximity to the center of that high pressure system. So, not that bad of a weekend, as I mentioned. All right. The last thing I want to show you guys, I don't think I've ever brought this up, and it may be a little bit difficult to see. It's called the MOS data. So this is for Newark, Islip and White Plains, I have a preset for this moss data. And it popped up on the other side. There we go. Let me try to make it a little bigger. I'm surrounded by numbers. Oh my God. Huh. All right. So this is called the moss data. This is text output. It may look complicated at first, but essentially, if we look at one individual line like this, CLD, which is just cloud cover. OV is overcast, BK is broken. And then going into the other way, we have overcast going into few, going into clear and few. So that's how you would read, for instance, that cloud cover line on this moss data. And then we have the 12-hour high and low. So if we look for tonight, this is where we're seeing, this is the MAV, it's called, which is the GFS moss for Newark specifically. It's showing 40 degrees as an overnight low. And you'll see right over here, temperature and then dew point. So the temperature line is showing the low 40s, and then going into tomorrow, 18Z, which is about 1 p.m., 51. And then it has these inter-hourly temperatures, highs. That's where it's showing the 12-hour high temperature. That is 53 degrees. This one. And then going down a little bit more, we have wind DR, wind direction, wind SP, wind speed. So we have wind direction. Say right here, 12Z tomorrow. 36, just tack on a 0. That means this is 360, which is north. The other ones around that, we have 01, which tack on a 0 is 10. Then we have 40, 50, 50, 70, 80, 90 for the direction. Then it switches here. That might be where a front moves through. It goes from 90 degrees to 210 degrees. Interesting. And then the wind speed, this is measured in knots. So this would be, say, 7 knots, 6 knots. And once you're at these very low speeds, less than 10 miles per hour, essentially 1 knot is functionally 1 mile per hour. Knots and miles per hour differ once it gets a little bit higher with the wind speeds. Just like Celsius and Fahrenheit, for the most part, functionally they are different. But there is a time when you get really cold, like -40. -40 Celsius may equal -40 Fahrenheit, just because this 9/5 relationship. Actually, let me see if I can bring that up. We have -40 Fahrenheit. There we go. -40 Fahrenheit equals -40 Celsius. If we go the other way, and I do 40 Fahrenheit, 4.44 Celsius. So 40 Fahrenheit, 4 Celsius. -40 Fahrenheit, -40 Celsius. Very interesting there. So this is the moss data. I'm surrounded by numbers now. I'll do the Stephen Colbert thing, can I? Wait. Nope, can't do that. Now that's one view. Then you have this GFSX. We had the MAV, which is the GFS moss. We have the MET, which is the NAM moss. I don't know where these actually come from, MET and MAV. And then we have MEX, which is GFSX, which is extended GFS. A little bit different. We still have on the cloud cover line, it's clear, so still showing that. It doesn't show you these in-between temperatures. It just shows you your high, the forecasted high, and the forecast low. So with the temperature here, we're showing, that's the forecast hour. So we have 44 and 62. The low and the high, opposite of high and low. Because what happens is the low temperature of that particular day happens at sunrise. Just before the sun starts coming up. That's going to be the coldest point of the entire day. And that's what these show. So 47, the first one here on, right there, say 44. For Friday, that's actually, so I would say 44 would be the overnight low from Thursday. And then we have 62 as the high. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong number. 46 is the high. Then it goes to 26. 26 would actually be the overnight low for Friday, because that's how we kind of become accustomed to it. The overnight low temperature happens sunrise or just before sunrise the next day. So that's where we're seeing these temperatures, 47, 46, so pretty even day for Friday because of the rain coming through. Temperatures don't fluctuate too much. Then we have 26, which is the low for Friday, overnight low, and then we go 30 for the high on Saturday, 24, 20 degrees for the morning on Sunday, which is the overnight low Saturday. I just made it sound very complicated. All right, so we're just about at, we're at the hour mark right now, which is what I like to keep the weather podcast to. I'm going to end where we started. Let's refresh the radar. We still see that's slowly making its way through. So, cheers to you guys. Got a corner of my mouth there. Okay. Anywho, thank you for joining. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Again, if you feel like supporting the channel, I have a PayPal link in the video description below. If you enjoy this content, definitely hit that subscribe button below too, and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload videos or I go live like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to have anything for Full Throttle Thursday tomorrow, but for Valentine's Day next week, I do have a Full Throttle Thursday special for that. And also, if you remember, Valentine's Day last year was my, my first day or first working day with the Be Terrific Company and my Climate Matters show. So I had some wine, I sat in front of the green screen, I had one of the other hosts come on, we chatted about the history of Valentine's Day, some pretty dark history, some light moments with the history. But I'll leave you guys with this. I will be spending Valentine's Day next week Han style, solo. All right, have a good night, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero, and I'll see you all in the next one.